Hi everybody, welcome to this week's edition of the CertiK Security Leaderboard Showcase. I'm your host, Aaron Leibowitz, and as you all know well by now, in this showcase, I host a guest for a live AMA where we discuss their work with CertiK, the Security Leaderboard, and we throw in some live questions from you, the viewers. Our goal is to raise the standards of security in the DeFi ecosystem. The Security Leaderboard found at CertiK.com is a free tool to help you DYOR. Today I will be joined by the team behind Shentu Shield. Let's go ahead and take a look at their project. Going to CertiK.com, you scroll down, you will see many top projects which you recognize, and among them, the CertiK token on the Shentu chain. Clicking into it, we'll see that they were onboarded in October of 2020, sitting at rank number 7 on the leaderboard today. Recently got their KYC badge, a new feature on the leaderboard that everybody should be checking out. Scrolling down here, let's take a look at what's going on. We have an audit on the Security Oracle and the Skynet running on the CertiK token. I believe that this is the CertiK token on the BEP20 version on Binance Smart Chain. So let's take a look at the sentiment analysis. Looking down, you can see mostly positive and neutral, which is always nice to see. Continuing down, we see again the BEP20 Binance Smart Chain CertiK token for liquidity metrics, liquidity pairs, and more. Looking at the distribution analysis, you can see exchange wallets are the top holders, and that's pretty much what we have today. So let's go ahead and bring on our guest.
Hello.
Hey, welcome to the Leaderboard Live Showcase.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So can you go ahead and give us a short introduction of who you are, what your background is, and what your role in the team is?
I've been a programmer since college, and I got interested in blockchain when I was doing masters, actually, in economics and computer science. And then I was able to join CertiK as a full-time employee a little less than 2 years ago. And since then, I have been working with a few others as a primary developer of the chain team. And Shentu Shield is one of the major projects of our chain. It's a decentralized insurance mechanism for people who want to provide collateral and earn some rewards. It features a decentralized pool of risk sharing, and also for people that want to protect themselves from failures in a blockchain project, we provide a highly cost-efficient insurance protection.
Got it. So if I understand correctly, Shentu Shield it's like a decentralized mutual. There's basically a pool of funds used to reimburse those who purchased shields, and a shield is protection of their assets. Is that correct?
Yeah. In case of a smart contract error. Yeah.
Got it. So smart contract errors, are those the only things that are going to be covered? Like if there's user error, for example, losing your private key, or interacting with some malicious software that stole your tokens but wasn't the result of a smart contract failure, would that be able to be covered?
No, I mean, we would cover things that failures that happened that were outside your control, just like any insurance products. And it will also depend on the actual claim you make. We realize that sometimes it can be a little difficult to define. But if it's a very obvious mistake on your end, then yeah, you won't get reimbursed. For example, like sending coins to a wrong address, or just simply forgetting your private key, then you won't get reimbursed. But the important thing to note here is that the entire claim assessment is also completely decentralized. Not completely, it's decentralized mostly, and it's social, just like any other Cosmos governance process. So it's considered a valid loss of funds due to contract malfunction or hack. If that's the case, then you'll get the refund, hopefully, yeah.
Got it. Okay. So that does make sense. And You said it's like any other Cosmos governance process. Can we dive into that real quick? Can you tell us a little bit about why Cosmos, what the advantages Cosmos brings?
Yeah, to be precise, it's not identical to Cosmos governance process, but it's mostly like we added another layer to make sure that to consider cases when a completely decentralized process does not lead to the right outcome. But it's mostly just validators and delegators who get to decide whether a claim is legitimate, and we hope that's always the case. When if it's functioning properly, all of them are incentivized to vote for the correct side, or at least one they think is the side that's considered to be the right side, because fraudulent outcome would affect the ecosystem very negatively, bringing everyone down. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense to me. One of the questions that I had when I was first learning about Shentu Shield was, if I'm staking to the Shield pool and I get to vote on whether or not my money gets used to reimburse people. At first, it would seem like it makes a lot of sense not to reimburse people, but you quickly realize that you do that a couple times and nobody's going to purchase shields anymore because, well, it's not actually protecting anything. So you might as well earn your APY and vote legitimately. Diving into that a little bit, can you talk about the sort of rewards for collateral providers in the shield pool?
So the APY is estimated to be around 30 to 35%. So the premiums that are collected are basically just distributed in proportion to the collateral that they have. So it's a very efficient mechanism, especially if you compare it to the traditional insurance mechanism, for example, because all of the premium gets distributed to the collateral providers. But we also add some staking rewards on top of that to make sure it's profitable for the collateral providers.
That makes sense. And I mean, 30 to 35% is a great APY to be earning on that. Can't say anything bad about that. So if your claim gets denied, but you feel like you had a legitimate claim, is there some appeals process or what happens there?
So it's what we've been talking about, but it is fundamentally it is the Oracle problem, right? In blockchain space. But what we're doing is we have a two round voting system. So if a proposal can get a clear outcome, like it doesn't reach the quorum or it doesn't go over some threshold voting ratio on either side, then we have a security council that decides the legitimacy of a claim. But we understand that like this is not what we would favor. This end up being in the security council, so we have some work to do here, and actually there is some work in progress at the moment.
Got it. Hinting at some new stuff coming down on the roadmap. Exciting to hear about that for sure. So I understand that's why you mentioned before that it's not fully decentralized governance is because of this ability to go to the Security Council. That makes sense to me. So continuing on here, what is the minimum period that you can actually stake for?
21 days. So if you provide coverage, your funds will be locked for the same amount of time as when you stake.
Oh, interesting. So staking is also a minimum of 21 days. I guess that makes sense because you can't have a bunch of people withdrawing their stake at once and then all of a sudden you're left with too little staked funds for the amount of shields purchased. So that's a way to keep those checks together.
Yeah. So actually the minimum period for which you can buy a shield is also 21 days. So so that when you have shield purchased, you will know that you're covered.
that is an extremely important feature of any insurance protocol, is that you can actually get paid out when you are supposed to. So knowing that the funds are there, and I mean, obviously a huge advantage of being on chain is that anyone can check at any time that the funds are in the contract that they're supposed to be in. So if anyone was questioning whether or not there are funds to cover their losses, it's right there for you on chain. Interesting. That's really cool. We've talked a little bit about the Oracle problem on here before. We've had a few, we had a Cardano Oracle, we had a Polkadot decentralized Oracle, and those were both great projects to have on. But the Oracle problem itself is, it's been something spoken about in the blockchain space since at least 2015-16, and I don't think there's been one perfect solution yet. I was actually just writing a piece on flash loans yesterday and talking a ton about oracles, of course, because, well, price oracles being a vector of attack for flash loans has been a major issue recently, the last 2 years at least. So thinking about, as you said, that fundamentally the voting process is an oracle issue makes a lot of sense. It really is feeding real world data on chain, and doing so in a secure manner that can guarantee correct results is still extremely difficult years on from when the problem was first identified.
Yeah. I would suggest you to check out Vitalik Buterin's comment on it. I think he was talking about some the graph council, for example. But yeah, it is really one of the fundamental challenges of blockchain. No perfect solution, but we are trying best to tackle the issue.
Yep, that's reasonable. And I did read Vitalik's piece on the Oracle problem. It is a very good piece for sure. So back to the shields for a minute. What's the maximum period I can buy coverage for?
There's no maximum here. You can always renew it. And yeah, as I said, the minimum period is 21 days. Yeah.
Do I have to renew it every 21 days?
Yeah. No, yeah.
Got it. Okay. Continuing on, we have some good live questions here. Let's dive into these. What are your marketing strategies, and how will you have global expansion and adoption in non-English speaking countries?
Currently, we have hires around the world. Some in Korea, some in Nigeria, and I'm not too involved in the marketing process, but I know they're working diligently to just bring it to every corner of the world, making it available in every corner of the world. Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed in the Discord you definitely have mods that speak a few different languages, which is also helpful. That's super nice for you guys. And I even saw, I was reading up on the ambassador program a little bit. It looked really interesting. I think that there's a lot of info available in the Discord that everyone should be checking out.
Yeah, Discord. I would definitely recommend. There are engineers, there are community managers. So yeah, you can talk to all kinds of people. Yeah.
Awesome. So continuing on here, let's do a few more live questions. What do you think the largest challenges for Shentu Shield will be in the future, and do you have any plans for how to solve them yet?
I think different engineers have different perspectives on this, but for me, as we were discussing, I think the what I said was the Oracle problem, but the voting process, finding out whether a claim is actually legitimate or not, I think that is the main challenge. And yeah, we are hoping to fix that, to improve that aspect. Actually, at the moment, there's some development work going on. Yeah.
Very cool. Before I joined CertiK, actually, I was working on a project that was a marketplace for business data, and there was a verification layer on the protocol that required you to vote on whether or not information was legitimate. So I've been through the ringer on trying to design a process that allows you to actually solve the Oracle problem, and well, I'd be pretty famous if I had solved it, so here we are. A few more live questions coming in quickly now. Where does the project name come from? What does it mean, and why did you choose the name?
I didn't choose it, but the engineering lead at the time chose it. It's a Chinese folk mythology. It's from Chinese folk mythology. Some guardian that is believed to have protected people from disasters and so on. So so that makes it a perfect name for our project.
I can definitely see that, protecting you from disasters, protecting from smart contract failures. I would call a smart contract failure a disaster for sure. All right, I have a couple more questions for you I want to get through before we jump back to live questions. So how do you choose which projects get added to Shield? And I'll save part 2 of that for afterwards, actually.
It gets added by when you contact us through the Shentu Shield webpage, then we add it for them after discussing the details. That's how a project gets added. That was the question, right? Yeah.
Okay, cool. So part 2 of that question is a little more in depth. It seems that the fees are static across all projects. Like the price of a shield on one token that's added is the same as the price of a shield on another token, rather than being dynamic by project, which is what we've seen in some other insurance protocols. Risk levels on different projects can be higher on one and lower on another, which is usually why the fees would be dynamic. So does this make it riskier or less risky in comparison to other protocols in your opinion? And why did you guys choose a static fee?
Well, actually, the fee rates can vary across projects, depending on our assessment of the project. This mainly comes from the public auditing information, as well as internal round of reviews, as well as the communication with the project owners. So yeah, we realized that this sounds a little bit centralized, but the idea is to have the experts decide how much risk it brings, because a lot of times community members might not be knowledgeable about it, and we how much we should bring to reward people providing collateral. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't realize that it could be dynamic. That's interesting. I did notice when I was playing around this a while ago with Cover Protocol and Nexus Mutual that letting the market rather than security experts decide what the risk level of different projects was didn't make too much sense, because there were sort of meme projects that weren't exactly the highest quality code, but that the community really liked, that had very low rewards for staking to their pool, even though the risk on them was probably much higher than a lot of the better quality audited projects that were actually listed on there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's definitely makes more sense to me, even if it is a little more centralized, to have security experts assessing the risk rather than the open market. So if they can be dynamic, can you stake to a pool for just one shield, or do you stake to a general pool for all the shields?
Currently, that's impossible. For simpler design that everyone can understand straightforwardly. Currently there's only one pool where everyone stakes. Yeah.
Okay, I understand now. That makes sense to me. Then on the security side, obviously we are here for Security Leaderboard Live Showcase. Talk to us a little bit about your security processes, how you maintain strict security standards over new features and updates, sort of everything on that front.
Yeah, we recognize the importance of this question as a cybersecurity company, and there are several things that I could point out. So our engineers diligently define test cases on our code base and maintain test networks. And we have automated simulation tests, and we set up in continuous integration system. So, and these are all public on our open source repo. I would suggest you to check it out. We also follow the standards of Cosmos SDK, which is obviously one of the largest ecosystems in the blockchain space today. And many of our chain engineers are actually involved in auditing works as well. So they are up to date with current security standards. Lastly, I want to point out that we operate extended periods of testnet before making changes to mainnet, and we maintain a companion test network called ULA to mirror the behavior and testings on it before making any changes to the Shentu mainnet.
Okay, that sounds like quite a comprehensive security protocol. Sounds like it is not your first rodeo in the security space. Yeah, that all sounds pretty good to me. So, live question we have here is: do you guys plan to, or do you already work with ethical hackers, or have a bug bounty program, or anything like that? Or was the audit more of the focus on that front?
Is audit? What was the last part of the question? So.
Or was the audit? I know the security oracle itself was audited, as well as the token contracts, I believe. Was that sort of how you took care of that, rather than having a bug bounty? Was my question.
Yeah. We as an auditing firm, we obviously believe in the process, auditing process, and yeah, Shentu went through that as well. In terms of bug bounty, we don't have we didn't have a set official program for that. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Moving on. We have a lot of live questions today. Can you talk about the team who are developing Shentu Shield? Did you guys work together before? Are you global, like remote, or do you work together in an office somewhere? How do you get to know each other? What are your backgrounds? Sort of everything around you in the team.
Yeah, we have teammates from really all over the world. And I mean, while we have an office in New York, since the pandemic, it hasn't really been active. So yeah, we work mostly remotely. Some members in Korea, India, Nigeria, and obviously America. Yeah, from all kinds of backgrounds. Yeah.
Got it. And as far as the engineers go, is there anywhere that you guys like? Have you worked with some of these engineers before? Are there any projects that you've done before this? Sort of, what's your background? What's anyone else's background?
Personally, no. I mean, I met them all at this current company, and I mean, but we've been a part of this chain team for many years. That we've worked at different areas on chain or off chain, but yeah, we've worked together in many different projects. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. So I was mentioning before the BEP20 version of the CTK token. That's not what's used for Shield, correct? You need the native CTK for Shentu Shield?
Correct. Yeah.
And why did you guys choose to launch a BEP20 compatible version?
That was actually that was. Oh, you mean for Shield? Just to enhance community reach. Yeah, that was the main reason.
That definitely makes sense to me. Continuing on here. So somebody's asking about the ambassador program. We did already cover that, guys. Go to the Discord. I can drop a link in the chat at the end here to the Discord. I believe you can also find it on the Shentu website. They have all the info on the ambassador program there. It's a really good resource for you guys to look at. I would, definitely recommend that one for everyone here. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to say, yeah, we really appreciate your interest and we welcome any questions on Discord. I hope we made it as accessible as possible. But yeah, we are always happy to hear any feedbacks, positive or negative, from you guys. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, that leads right into the next question is, how do you guys look at community feedback? Do you use community feedback to drive any product design or new features? Has that been a big driver for you in the past?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as we discussed at this new iteration of Shield, a lot of points for improvement came from receiving these feedbacks from the users. So yeah, we take it very seriously.
Awesome. As a former product manager, that's definitely good to hear. I always wondered if my feedback driving feature design was actually useful, but the other side of it, I can definitely tell it is. So I believe that Shentu actually the chain went through a big upgrade not too long ago. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Can you tell us a little bit about that upgrade, sort of what the purpose was, what you guys upgraded, anything on that front?
I mean, so I don't know which one you're talking about, but the recent one was just to fix there was a psych bug in the vesting account, and where the migration didn't happen correctly. So we did a quick binary switch upgrade on that. Hopefully, it didn't cause much inconvenience there.
Got it. Okay, that definitely makes sense. Do you guys find that your user base for Shentu Shield is mostly people who are super blockchain knowledgeable already, or is it new people who are sort of afraid of interacting with the blockchain space, afraid of losing funds, and want some way to protect themselves, or somewhere in between?
I mean, I would say we want to. There's more people from the former description, but we want to maximize our outreach to the latter, the people that fall into the latter description. But I think that's true of blockchain space in general, unfortunately. But I think this is just that's because we're at the initial phase of this breakthroughs in blockchain space. So yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree with that. In my experience, most of the people that you're going to interact with are not newcomers. They sort of at least know their stuff, have some experience in the space already. But as you said, the sort of goal of everyone in blockchain is to welcome newcomers, to help with the educational front, to try and make it easily accessible to all. And quite frankly, today, the UI UX, in my opinion, is probably the biggest barrier to entry for a lot of newcomers. As I mean, interacting with most DeFi protocols is difficult. Understanding what MetaMask is, how to use a Web3, like a connected wallet, and even just simple things like, staking into a lot of the lending protocols is complicated. You receive different tokens in return that, if you're not knowledgeable about them, don't make any sense to you at first. But on the other hand, if you are knowledgeable about them, they can be quite valuable, and we've seen a lot of interesting strategies that people take using these protocols. So it's a give and take, I would say.
Agreed. Yeah.
All right, well, I think that about wraps us up for today. Thank you very much for joining us. This was really informative. I think Shentu Shield is a super cool project that I'm excited to keep watching moving forward, and the rest of the Shentu chain ecosystem. Guys, if you have any questions, feel free to go into the Discord and ask more questions to the team there. You know where to find me on Twitter, on Telegram, all of that. And yeah, I will catch you back here next week.
Yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Have a great day, guys.